Welcome to episode 60 of A Message From. We're your hosts. I'm Alyson.
I'm Edward.
And it is still Health and Wellness Month.
It still is. We only have 2 more episodes. One after this.
Wow.
So
it kind of went fast. What do you think?
It did. Too fast. March cannot end soon. For many reasons, personally.
So many reasons. I do love March. It's a great month.
I don't particularly like March, but you probably do because it's your birthday.
It's my birthday month. It's the first day of spring. And it's like, it's funny because I saw this reel yesterday and I was like, this is so true. It's like this guy walking down the street and it's like me in the month of March. It's like, I hate everything. I'm depressed. Work sucks. Everything's awful.
Yeah.
I hate my life. And then he's still walking down the street and then he merges into like a patch of sunlight and he puts his sunglasses on and he's like, I love life. It's beautiful. Sunny day. I'm like, this is me in March.
I don't see, that does not have the same effect on me, but I think it's because spring is my least favorite season. Like, by far, way down the list, even though there's only 4. There's a big difference between 4 and 3 on my list.
Yeah, winter is mine. There is a very noisy vehicle outside. I will say, that's the thing I don't like about March. Everyone with a super obnoxious car or motorcycle is like, woo, party time. And they come out and they're like zooming around.
That's true. Because it's like, fine, the roads are good-ish, you know, unless it's raining.
It's going to rain today.
Well, I was going to say, so it's raining today, which thank God. It's not raining a lot, but it's raining enough. Because
you're living in a dust bowl.
Yeah, there's this. I've been living in a dust storm. Woke up on, what was it, like 2 days ago? So today's Thursday when we're recording. So it was Tuesday. I woke up and everything was covered in sepia tone, orange dust from the Sahara. And I looked at I was confused because at that point it should have been very sunny and I didn't know what was going on. And I checked my weather app and it was like air quality was like red. And I was like, oh, that's not good. And as the day went on, it just got more and more purple.
Which is bad. Explain to people that's bad. Because I saw you posting these. And when I saw it go from red to purple, I'm like, oh, purple. That's an improvement. That's good. And then I looked at it closer and I was like, oh, purple is worse.
Purple's worse. And then it gets like dark red purple. And that's like the most worst. I don't know. the worstest. Now it says it's moderate. So it was showing a map before, but now it's not. But it was like somehow as the days went on, it was like just the middle of Spain that was like dark purple. So yeah, the rain is here and now it's all going away. It was very weird. It wasn't even that intense, I think, here as it was farther south in terms of how orange things were. But it did feel like I was living on Mars for like 2 days.
Wow. That's wild.
Very weird. I know.
He's the weatherman. We had a huge snowstorm last weekend, and then I have an embarrassing sunburn because I have spent a total of like, I really feel like it hasn't been that many hours outside this week, but we've had really nice weather. So I've been sitting outside in the sun for like a few hours every day, and now I have like crazy tan lines from my necklaces. Like,
oh no,
it's bad, but I can't complain because
you can't complain
nice
too much about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm sad because I want to go running, which is what we're going to talk about today later, but I can't because, well, now it's raining, but before it was like literally too hazardous to go running or like
you would have
outside.
Like dust in your lungs and eyes.
Yeah, I was like, oh man. Anyway, enough of dust. I wanted to talk to you about our reading updates because we haven't done it in a while. And I'm curious as to how far you are along in your reading goal.
I am doing so well. Let me tell you.
What does yours say?
Okay. So far, I have read 10 out of the 35 books for my goal this year. So that's
Does that
20
say it's on track or like
ahead of track. Ahead. Because so 35 books would be 3 books per month, except February would be 2 books per month, which makes sense, right? It's the shorter month, only by a couple days, but whatever.
It was like a shorter by like 3 days.
Hey,
but okay.
The last book that I read in like 2 days. It was a short one, but
there you go.
So technically, at this point, like halfway through March, I should be on like my 7th book, but I'm on my 11th.
Okay, pretty good. So you're ahead of schedule.
Yeah, what about you?
I am 6 out of 24, 2 per month, and I'm 2 books ahead of schedule.
Fabulous. We're both
I know.
doing
And the last book I
well.
read was really fucking long. So I'm like, all right, great.
I did read I read a couple of really long ones so far this year, and then a couple of really short ones. So
yeah, I have had quite a few shorties, but that's it. I was just curious as to how far along you were, because I was like looking at mine and I was like, oh, I don't think I've been ahead since like 2019, 2018.
There's a point in every year where I get ahead and then something happens and I get way, way, way behind. And I'm always like, oh, I can do it. I can still do it. Like, for sure, I'll get there. And
Do
then
you think you can not plan, but project? Yeah, project. Do you think you could project when that might happen this year?
It usually happens like late summer, early fall.
Interesting. It's prime reading time for me.
Yeah, things start to pick up for me in the fall and get busy. And then if I'm traveling in the summer, like I do get a bit of reading done, but not as much as if, I were just at home doing nothing, right? So.
True.
Do you have a favorite book you've read so far?
Oh, let me open up that app that I just closed.
We have read 2 of the same books so far this year.
Dante's Inferno?
Yes. And the Works and Days.
Oh, you read the Theogony?
Yeah.
And Works and Days?
Yep.
Oh, did you like it?
I did. It was good.
Yeah, that's a good one. Although Works and Days is like kind of bleak. But
Theogony is better.
Hesiod is a bit of a dickhead when it comes to Pandora.
Yeah.
But that one's very short. Very short. I think my favorite, it has to be A Little Life.
Oh, yes.
But I did really like Dante's Inferno because it was super petty.
Yes, I did love Inferno. That was great. I'm trying to think what else.
Did you have a favorite?
I'm having a hard time deciding between 2. This is me, story of my life, right?
Yeah, like every time we do this, I think you're like, I have 2, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
Okay, so we'll go favorite fiction, favorite nonfiction. Favorite fiction, I just read The Slaughterman's Daughter. It was like weird, interesting, I guess we'll say, timing, because it's set in like the late 1800s, early 1900s, but it's in like the area of the world that is today, like Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, that area. But like obviously back then, those countries didn't have those borders. Yeah. But that was a very good one. And then favorite nonfiction, Paradise. It was about the wildfires in Paradise, California that happened. Gosh, what was it, like 4 years ago now?
I have no idea. I just know there are wildfires every year in California.
Yeah, but this one was like particularly
bad.
Unfortunate, yeah.
Oh.
So I read about that book. Yeah, so that was my...
Those are your 2.
Yeah, those are my 2.
Okay, sounds good. I'm trying to think... I'm reading a book now that's terrible, but like terrible in a funny way. So, and it's short, so I'm like just gonna read it, but it's like really bad. And I'm like, okay, all right, here we go.
I'm reading a memoir right now.
You're reading a memoir?
A memoir. Oui.
Oh, you told me about this.
I told you about it, yeah.
Yes. Maybe I'll read it too. Maybe I won't. Who knows?
Listen.
Recently I was playing a childhood game with a friend of mine. Did you ever play MASH?
Oh my gosh, of course.
Okay, because some people I feel like maybe didn't.
Who
Did you
didn't
ever play
play
Mash
MASH?
Show?
I had like whole notebooks dedicated to MASH.
Yeah, I I had made some on like paper with permanent marker so that they were the same, which is like kind of dumb. But the idea was that we would play with it on pencil and then you could erase it and like reuse it really fast. My mother found them and instantly threw them away.
I did actually have a notebook, like a MASH notebook that I bought from a store,
smart.
like for that. But then obviously like we made our own too.
Yeah. Wait, the notebook like had pre-made MASH?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that in my life.
It was so
That's
cool. I loved it.
That's cool.
It was
so
nice.
we had to like obviously adjust some of the categories because I don't know. I feel like general categories everybody did was like husband or wife and like
how many kids? What car
where
are you
you
gonna
live,
drive? Yeah.
what car are you gonna drive? Yes, which is like funny because as a fourth grader, like most kids only know like
3 cars.
red car, blue car. Like,
Yeah.
like
I'm pretty sure like
I
I
don't know.
drove a Mustang in my dreams, but now I'm like, I would not.
Yeah, right. I think I maybe put down Jeep because that's like what my parents had. I don't know.
Did I tell you? I had to have told you this story about how when I was a kid, I always wanted a Jeep. Like, my dream car was a Jeep with no doors. And I didn't know for the longest time that, like, you bought the Jeep with doors and then took them off yourself. Like, I thought you bought that without
that's
doors.
good. That's good. That's like that category of like stupid things that kids think that like make sense in their head. I used to think that the earth was hollow.
Oh.
Yeah, because I saw on the news once something about a sinkhole. And I was like, oh my God, the earth is hollow. I also thought we invented color because I saw black and white photographs and then photographs that were in color.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, all of them sort of made sense in my head, but they're kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And then I also thought that you could pee like whatever color you drank of something, you could pee. Because one time I drank a bunch of Sprite, which is clear. And then I was obviously very hydrated. And my pee was clear and I thought that I was peeing Sprite. Straight up.
That
Dumb
also
as hell.
seems pretty logical. Like,
Right.
that makes sense.
I was trying to make sense of the world around me. I was just doing it wrong.
You were making an effort. An effort was made.
Yes. So like obviously back to MASH, we had to change a few things. So instead of God, what was it? Instead of partner, we did job, amount of kids, where you lived, big lifetime achievements, like a big milestone for you that would happen in your life, something positive.
Yeah,
and then like a big misfortune, something that goes like really wrong for you.
Okay, dark.
Yeah, but it was like funny. It was like, I think in mine, I lost a bunch of international property to a hurricane. And I was like, okay, like that is unfortunate. But like, some of them were like, I'll never gain EU citizenship or other things like that. And it was fun. It was very fun. And I want to play someday with you.
We should definitely play together. Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe we should, I don't know if we should play it on the pod. That seems like it might be a little boring.
Thrilling for us, boring for everyone else.
It was funny to go through and like, you know, most of the fun is seeing what gets crossed out. Mm-hmm. Because if you're smart enough, you put a bunch of things that make terrible decisions, like terrible outcomes. You don't have like one bad outcome and like 4 good ones, right?
Yeah.
So there were lots of bad combos that I could have had. I was almost a crypto influencer who lived in Marfa, Texas.
Yikes.
With that like one Prada story and nothing else. Yeah. So anyway.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I feel like we should play.
We should play. We will play. And then we can like
We will play.
share the highlights of our results.
Yeah. We'll see what happens to us in the future.
Yeah. So I learned something new yesterday.
Okay. Every day is a new day to learn.
Yeah. Apparently it's National Sleep Awareness Month.
Oh,
I'm
for
like,
Christ's sake.
Why is the notification about this going out in the middle of the month? We've already missed 2 full weeks of sleep awareness. Like,
it seems like whoever's doing the PR for Sleep Awareness Month is not doing a good job.
wild. So apparently it's like Sleep Awareness Month. And they sent out these quick facts about sleep awareness. So
who's we? Or they? Sorry, who's they?
Oh, sorry. So like the apartment community that I live in, they have like their community engagement team, and like part of that is like the fit, whatever, like health promotion.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that arm of their like community engagement sent out this National Sleep Awareness stuff, and I'm like, 2 weeks late, but whatever. They sent out they sent out these 5 facts about sleep. What do you think is the normal time it takes for someone to fall asleep once they've gotten in bed?
I'm gonna go short and say 3 minutes.
3. Well, I guess this doesn't say short. This doesn't say average, but it says it's normal for it to take 10 to 20 minutes.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And I'm like, for sure for me, I cannot fall asleep that quickly.
You can't fall asleep in 10 to 20 minutes?
20 minutes? Yeah. 3 minutes? God, no.
Oh, my regular is like anywhere from instant to like 3 minutes.
No, I could never.
Oops. Okay.
I wish.
What's next?
So next, humans usually have between 4 to 6 dreams a night. We know I'm on the high end of that scale.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Yeah. And then tiredness peaks twice a day around 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. And I'm like, 2 a.m., whatever, we're asleep. Most people
Wait, what? It doesn't make any sense, 2 a.m.
I mean,
Aren't we like already asleep?
I think so. I am asleep. But maybe that's when you have like your deepest sleep. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. 2 p.m. makes sense though.
So this is interesting because we were just talking about how you thought we invented color. So apparently before color television, only 15% of people dreamed in color, but now 75% of people dream in color since the onset of color television.
That is interesting because didn't they see color everywhere else?
Yes,
or maybe we did invent color and someone lied to me.
We could be on to a real mystery here.
We could. We have a lot of evidence that we'd have to somehow strike out, but conspiracy theories.
Yes. And then the last one, which I totally believe, this makes sense. Being awake for 16 hours straight decreases your performance as much as if you had a blood alcohol content of 0.05.
Oh, specific. What is, how much alcohol is that?
And like, well, the legal limit is 0.08. So that's like more than halfway to being like too impaired to operate anything.
Oh, okay. You said 0.5?
0.05. 0.5 is like dead. 0.4 is like dead.
Wait, so what's the legal? 0.08?
The legal limit is 0.08%.
Okay.
0.5% is like 50% of your blood is alcohol and you're shriveled up.
Yeah. You're full on like muerto.
You're a walking bottle of alcohol.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that I know that. Has this helped me in any way for the rest of National Sleep Awareness Month? I'm not sure, but
fun facts.
I do know these facts now. Yeah. All right. Well, when we come back from the break, we're going to get into another message about health and wellness because that's the gig this month.
Hey everyone, Alyson here. As you may know, this month on A Message From, we are doing a health and wellness theme. We would love to hear from you with any questions or thoughts you have about health and wellness, so get in touch. Welcome back. Do you want to say it or should I?
Say what?
We hope you enjoyed the break.
Oh.
Gosh, apparently someone around here just doesn't pay attention.
I just don't care if they enjoyed the break anymore.
Sorry, someone around here has to care about the listeners. Anyway, moving on. we have a message from Pilar. So let's get into it.
Hello, pod. Long time no message. Hope you're doing well. So I just signed up for the women's race in Madrid, and it's in May. It's 7.2 kilometers. Do not ask me how much that is in miles, but it's definitely more than I ever have run or intend to run, realistically. But it's for a good cause, so here we go. Curious to know, I just started running recently. I finally ran a mile nonstop, so yay me. Small goals, very small, but compared to the 7.2 kilometers I have to run. What are some running tips that you all can provide, and or just how to prepare for a race? I do intend to walk and run, but yeah, I'm curious to know. As Edward, I know you are a expert runner, as you have run past me many a time. Just let me know what you all think about running and any tips you can share or any fun running stories that you have. All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a good day. Recording. I don't know. Oh, my God. Please don't share this part.
Thank you, Pilar, for your message. And thank you for calling me an expert runner, because I do feel like this is one of my fortes.
Yeah, in this group, you are definitely the expert runner, because what do I think about running? Hate.
Yes.
Hate.
Yes.
Loathe.
I've seen you in person hate it.
Yeah. I do have some fun running stories, though, all the same.
Well, let's get into prep, I guess, and like tips and tricks and rules of the game.
Yeah.
I have never heard of a 7.2 kilometer race before. Maybe that's just my own ignorance. But I was like, this is such a bizarre, like, distance, I feel like. So, I don't know. Because I was looking up, like, good training plans for, like, 7.2 kilometer races. And it, like, wasn't popping up. So I was like, maybe this isn't common.
Well, I think the standard is either 5K or 10K.
Yeah, there's like 5Ks, 10Ks. There's sometimes like 8Ks or something. That's why I was like, why 7.2? But anyway.
It's good. Right in the middle. Right in between. So it's like you're past the 5K point.
Maybe that's what it is.
But you're not quite ready for a 10K yet. I like it.
Okay, that would make more sense. I didn't think about the in-between 5 and 10. Yeah. So it is about... An 8K is 5 miles. So I was looking up stuff for that. But what can you do to get yourself to run? Well,
I mean, if you don't love running, or if you're just not good at it, I mean, we kind of talked about this last week too. You just have to find something, like dig deep inside of you and just get out and do it. I mean,
what do you do when you like need to go for a run and you're like, ugh, but you go and do it, but what gets you to the outside and start running?
Oh, see, this is not a good question for me. This is not a good question for me, because I really do enjoy working out. So I understand that running is my weak point and it really challenges me. So I'm just like, okay, I need to challenge myself and push myself, and this is going to make me better. So I'm just going to go do it.
Oh, so it's more of it's you being competitive with yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. My fatal flaw.
All right. Well, it works in your favor, I guess, in this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about what I do when I like need to go for a run, but I'm like, I don't wanna. And I was like, I force myself to change and like put everything on, because that's like half the battle.
Once you're in it,
once you're in the clothes,
there's nothing holding you back.
Yeah, and then I will blast like go-to pump-up songs.
Mm-hmm. Good
that aren't necessarily
really
like good running songs, but like a song that I want to listen to.
If you get hyped, yeah, like if the song really pumps you up, that's good advice too. Because if you're dreading a run, or if while you're running the whole time you're like, oh my gosh, this is awful, I'm dying, I hate it. Good scenery helps, and good music helps. Something to keep your mind off of it and distract you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say also, I mean, for me, because I've been running for so long at this point, I know like how to get to that point where I enjoy it and just like coast. But if you don't know what that's like, some people like, some people be like, I don't understand how people like to run. It's like, I need stimulation in other ways. Like, it seems really boring. And I'm like, but sometimes that's why I like it, because it is boring. And I don't have to think about it. It's autopilot. But I think getting to an autopilot state, you need to
it's
just
very
sort of
difficult.
Suck it up.
It's very difficult. I used to run a lot more than I do now because I used to do races. And I really liked them and I had a lot of fun doing them. But even then, I never truly got to that point, like that runner's high point.
Where runner's high, that's what it's called. Thank you.
Where you're just like going and you're feeling good and everything's great. Like, I would get into more of a groove after like the first mile. I would start to settle in and feel better, but it was never like, I never reached that peak.
Interesting. Oh, it's if you can ever get to that peak, it's so nice. But it's one of those things that you just have to believe when it happens to you, I guess. Yeah. But the other thing is, when you're starting off for not running, and I mean, for me, when I don't run for a while, which at this point in my life doesn't really happen very often, it's not like super long between runs. Like maybe I won't run for like a month, but like it's not more than that. But if you're just getting started in it, I find it really easy to just do like a training plan or like a guided run, something that I just don't have to think about. Like I just click the button and the person just like talks to me, or I have like my next 2 weeks of runs planned out because this app is like telling me that's what I should do. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's good, because I don't want to plan my runs. Yeah. And I don't want to plan like getting back into it. It's like too much work.
I've always said I was going to do like follow a running like training plan. You know, they always have those like couch to 5K, couch to half marathon stuff. Like, I always say I'm going to do it. Well, I always used to say I was going to do it, and I never did it. But surprise.
I use Nike Run Club a lot. And they have started doing more guided runs, and they like came out with these plans as well. And I did one of them. I did like the Get Started one, I think. And it's only 4 weeks. And obviously I like adjusted it to being like much longer, but it was very, very easy. Like the original one is very easy and very doable. And I think that just following one of those is so nice. But if you're doing an actual race, like even people who are actual runners will just, they'll follow a plan for the race because you need to be able to do the race.
Exactly. Like working up to whatever distance the race is. And there's plenty of like research and theory behind like never doing your longest run. Like, what is it? Like the week of the race or the week before the race. Like you would have your longest run like a week or two before the race.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's mostly with like longer ones too. But also if you're like training exactly for a certain distance race, you would never run it as far. Like they always say, when you prepare for a half marathon, you like never actually run the half marathon until you do it.
It's totally fine, because you have so much adrenaline in the moment. Like the day of the race, I always did. Like when I would practice and train for these races, like it didn't even matter. Like once you get up to that starting line, there's so much adrenaline, excitement. I was trying to combine those two words together. And at least for me, I could always go further at like a much calmer, easier level in the race than I ever could when I was practicing or training.
Yeah, there is that sort of, I guess it is adrenaline or energy or that you're just able to do when the actual like time comes to it. In high school, I used to I get very anxious when I'm at the start line. I don't like that feeling. It's like butterflies and vomiting and like everything in between. I do not like. And even I used to be able to like, I mean, even on the bus, like 2 hours before the race would start, I would just sit there and be like, oh, I want to die. But of course, once you start, it's no big deal.
I've only ever done races for fun, though. Like, I did track 1 year in middle school, and I was terrible. I never raced for points, so it didn't matter. And everything I've done since then has just been for me, for fun. Like, I've done a bunch of 5Ks, and they always have a theme. They're always fun. Like, I did this.
I hate themes.
Oh, I love the themes.
Because I'm just there to run. I don't want to do the themey.
Oh. See, that's the fun part for me, because I'm just like a casual runner. And then I have done 2 Tough Mudders, which were awesome, incredible. Oh, they were so good. So good.
I could not. I could not.
And it's like, those ones are interesting to train for because the obstacles that you have to do, I mean, unless you have access to like American Ninja Warrior gym or something, which like those didn't even exist back when I was doing Tough Mudder.
Yeah,
like,
no.
You just train by like, I don't know. Obviously you have to have stamina and be able to run because they're 12 to 13 miles. And then anywhere from like 25 to like 30 something obstacles. So it's just like...
And like mud.
And mud and like electricity and ice cold water. Yeah.
Why would anybody...
electrocuted.
Okay, all right. To each their own. That is a big no for me.
Mostly
all the mud and shit.
I mean, the mud part was fun. That was totally fun. And like, again, 13 miles. I've never run 13 miles in my life, but you get in me obviously being super competitive and stuff and wanting to like make sure we finish in the average time. Cause I did it with a friend. I did it with my friend Ronnie.
Yeah.
And so we were both like, we can't be the last ones to finish this thing. And we finished in the average time. So that was good. I think it was like
all right.
3 hours, 3.5 hours was the average time.
But with that, you also like have to stop and do the obstacle, right?
Yeah. So like there are different waves, right? Like you go in different like heats. So like not everyone's on the course at the same time. Obviously, certain obstacles are harder than others, so they get a little bit backed up. But there was not a bunch of like standing around time. But you obviously do slow down when you're getting to the obstacles.
Right.
Yeah.
I ran a half marathon my senior year of university.
Wow.
That was
Did I know this?
I don't know. Maybe.
That's good. A half marathon?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I don't know. It's just like a thing.
I guess technically Tough Mudder was a half marathon. It was 13 miles.
Yeah, about. Yeah.
So
just
just
a little,
short of
I think it's like a little bit under, isn't it? It's like 13.1 or something. It's not a half marathon. 26.2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, about. My friends and I signed up for one. People, because, well, in Pittsburgh, people would just, it was very common for people to just sign up and do the Pittsburgh half marathon all the time. Which I never did. Don't know why. Probably because I was never around in the spring. Anyway, we decided to do this thing, and it was on like Halloween weekend, and it was up at a ski resort. It was the first time this ski resort had put it on. And it was clear that like 2 of my friends were going to run together, and me and the other person were going to run separately. Like there was 3 sets of us and running times, and we instantly like start this race, and it is clear that these people who mapped the course had never run a half marathon before, because it was literally up and down ski slopes.
Oh my gosh.
Which are very steep, obviously.
Yeah.
And like, down trails that were just like, like you had to like, I can't even explain. It was just miserable. And people who had done half marathons all the time were just like, at one point they just started walking. They were like, this is impossible. This is not a half marathon. This is like worse than a Tough Mudder. This is like worse than all that shit. Because it was just up and down, up and down. It was a hill workout for 13 miles. I think I walked at like one point, and then of course the point that I walked in, I got finally up to the top, and it was like very easy after that. And I was like, oh, well, should have just pushed through.
Yeah.
But yeah, finished that, and in like a little over 2 hours, which I was like, all right. For the fact that it was lame is, bleak as sin. I was like, it's fine with me. It's fine.
Yeah. That's good.
You mentioned that you had ran track in middle school for 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah. This is the last thing I'll say, is my incredibly embarrassing and very humbling 800-meter race. The only 800-meter race I ever ran. 2 laps around the track, 8th grade. Coach just put me in because nobody else was there. And he was like, you usually run long distances. This will be great for you. And I was like, okay. I didn't know how to pace myself, I guess. And I sprinted and was very much in first place for the full first lap. And then immediately, I think it was like the last 200 meters, I just like was dead, obviously, and came in dead ass last.
Whoops.
And it was my dad. I remember my dad was just like, yeah, well, it's 2 laps. So don't you think you should have like set some energy for the last lap? And I literally just was like, I have no idea. I didn't know. And I never ran that race again. It was too embarrassing. It was an entire stadium of people staring at me.
Oops.
Go from first to dead ass last.
You just got thrown in there.
Yeah, well, that's also how I got into the 400 meter, which was embarrassing as fuck, too. I was just thrown into that, and then I had to do that for fucking 4 years in high school. And I was always in the final because there was never enough kids to do like a semi. And so it was like me and a bunch of actually fast kids. And I was like, this is miserable. I was only last a few times, though.
I'm a pitifully slow runner. But yeah, my humbling moment was, I think it was the first time I ever ran a mile. In middle school, in gym class, they made you run a mile. And
oh, yeah, the mile.
You had to finish it in a certain amount of time, too. And I was like right on the limit. I was over 13 minutes. I was like one of the last people to finish. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And it was the first time I had ever run a mile. Like, I don't run.
That's true. The first time, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because every time I think about running the mile in high school, if there was like somebody who was on the cross country team in your same gym class, it was just always, you'd like look at each other and be like, we got this. But also you'd be like, why are we doing this? We clearly like don't need to demonstrate that we can do this.
Well, so I fortunately got to miss out on all that in high school because I only had to do 1 semester of gym class because I was on a varsity sport for all 4 years. If you were on a varsity sport for all 4 years, you could get out of gym class. You only had to do 1 semester. So my 1 semester, I ended up in like the weightlifting class. I think I told this story before. All of like the emo and goth kids would steal the pins out of the machines and hide them. And then our final exam was like about the history of basketball. It was like a written final exam about the history of basketball.
What? Yeah. That's insane. I'm so jealous. We varsity, or it didn't matter if you were varsity. Like student athletes in high school were always so pissed because that was never a rule for us. And we were like, I mean, I ran like over 100 miles a week in like peak cross country season. Yeah. And it was like, why the fuck am I like having to sit here and play like fucking ping pong for an hour? Or like even worse, swim.
Oh, I didn't have to swim in high school, but I did have to swim in middle school. What a nightmare. And everyone would be like trying to blow dry their hair under the 3 hand dryers in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Good times.
Mems. Well, Pilar, good luck on your 7.2 kilometer race. I'm sure I will be giving you tips and tricks up until then.
You better be there cheering her on at the finish line.
I could go to it. I guess I could go.
Good luck, Pilar.
You have about 6 weeks from the day this podcast comes out. So find a training plan and stick to it, babe.
Find a training plan. Don't overexert yourself. And just know that on the day of, you'll be so excited that you're going to do great.
Yeah. And make sure you take your rest days seriously. Like, don't do shit. Rest days are so real when it comes to running.
Very important. It's National Sleep Awareness Month. Get that sleep.
Yes. Fall asleep anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes like a normal person.
Yep.
All right. Pilar will get her postcard. You can get your postcard if you send us a message at 202-630-4509. If you live in the US, if you don't, a message from pod@gmail.com. We only have 1 more week of Health and Wellness Month, so if you want to ask a question, now is the time because we'll be taking a hiatus from this topic, probably for a little bit. Check us out on amfpod.com for bonus content, a message from on Instagram, rate and review 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you'll hear from us next week.
Talk to you soon. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.